Hello, and thank you for viewing today's panel conversation on housing, residential education, and dining here at Carnegie Mellon. My name is Justin Money. I'm one of the associate directors in the Office of Admission, and I will be moderating this conversation. We've collected some questions from prospective and admitted students in recent weeks and wanted to take these questions directly to some of the experts here on our campus. So I'd like to start by giving our panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves and their role here on the Carnegie Mellon campus. So Sarah, if you would like to kick us off.
Sure, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's great to connect with you virtually today. So my name is Sarah Myhall. I work in our Housing Services office. In that office, I serve as the Assistant Director for Housing Operations for Assignments. I've been with the Housing Office for 4 years and with the university about 6 years. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today and answer some of the most frequently asked questions that we receive about housing. In my role, I oversee all of our room assignments and the applications that go along with those. And so our office in Housing Services, the best way to describe it is very much at the business process side of your residential experience on campus. So we manage and oversee all of the room assignments. So where are you going to be living? The ID card access to your room, so how you actually get into the buildings and into your rooms. Facilities and maintenance, so how things are sort of taken care of and cleaned. And then we also work really hand in hand with our partners in residential education, which you will also hear from. We house about 4,000 students on campus and also have a 4-year housing guarantee. So if you do stay in housing with us, you can stay for all 4 years. So that's a little bit about us. We're great. Really excited to talk with you.
Hey everybody, I'm David Chickering. I'm the Associate Director of Residential Education. I am also a House Fellow for eTower, one of our first-year communities. I also serve as a college liaison to the College of Fine Arts. I have been at Carnegie Mellon for 15 years, and within residential education, we're sort of the people side of the residential experience. So we work with community advisors and RAs in the House Fellow group to make sure that every student has a connection point in the university and that your experience outside of the classroom is also a learning experience where you grow and you find out the people that are going to help you in your journey. So that's a little bit about us.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pascal Petter, and I am the Director of Dining Services. I hope that you are doing well and your families are doing well also. I want to congratulate you for selecting Carnegie Mellon University and welcome you to our family. Hopefully we have an opportunity to welcome you to campus soon. Certainly these are very different times. Second, I encourage you to visit our website if you haven't done so already, cmu.edu/dining. We have a lot of information on our website. We might not be able to answer all of your questions today, so I encourage you to, again, visit our website. Our staff is working remotely, so if you have any questions, feel free to call us on our main line, but you can also email us at dining@andrew.cmu.edu. A little bit about our program. We are very passionate about bringing global cuisines cuisines and flavors to our campus. So we offer a very unique and diverse program, probably unlike other universities that you might have visited. So instead of contracting with one food management contract company, we actually have contracted with 11 different food vendors, 8 of which are local entrepreneurs, businesses right in here in the city of Pittsburgh. And through that system, we offer about 35 different concepts spread out over 15 different buildings, both in residential and also academic buildings as well. And we know that students are busy, they're driven, they're always on the go. So this program provides a lot of flexibility and convenience really at any time of the day. We don't have a traditional residential dining hall. That's just one of the examples. Our focus really is on offering healthy options and providing venues that are social and interactive, something that you can read in the university strategic plan as well. Our vision really is to enrich and nourish the students' life while on campus and transforming and enhancing the transformative experience. I'll turn it over to Jessica now as well.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jessica Tones. I'm the Program Director for Nutrition and Marketing for Dining Services. In my role, I handle both our marketing and communications for dining services, and I work with students in all the ways that they interact with food. So we have students who have food allergies, and I would communicate with them and meet with them to help them create relationships on campus that allow them to eat safely. I also create our events calendar each semester, which really looks at kind of what David was sharing about that lived experience on campus around food. How do we learn how to select foods? How do we learn more about where our food comes from? What kinds of foods can improve health and well-being? And how do we use food as a point of celebration and community and give ourselves that space to really enjoy all the different foods in our lives, but also on campus?
Very good. Well, thank you all for those introductions, both to yourself and to your role on our campus. So we'll dive in now with some of our questions. And Sarah, the first question that we have, I'm going to throw your way. We have a student who is wondering, how is a typical residence hall room set up for a first-year student?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm especially thinking, when we have students come and visit the campus, or whether they're, visiting virtually and looking through our website, that's one of the first things they want to know is how is our campus set up? How is it sort of different from other campuses? So a couple of things are really important in this area. So first of all, you're going to see and notice that most of the rooms that we have on campus are double rooms, so 2 people to a room. We do have a limited amount of single spaces. We have some triple spaces, but most of them are going to be double spaces. We do have a variety of room types. So our first year spaces are designated for first years only. So meaning we have buildings that are set up that are just for first years every year. But we have a variety of room types within that. So we have traditional style, semi-suite, and even apartment style for our first year students. And so each of those are set up a little bit differently. So the traditional style hall or room type is something that you would traditionally think of when you think of a residence hall. So, you might have 2 people in a room, you have a whole wing or a whole hallway of these rooms next to each other with a common style bathroom in the middle that's got several showers, several stalls, and so that's our traditional setup. Those communities, the gender is split by however the bathrooms are, so by floor or by wing is how we organize those buildings. Those buildings come with a community kitchen that's open to all residents to use, laundry facilities, and also common area lounges. We also have semi-suite buildings, and these are going to be basically 2 bedrooms that share a bathroom. So you'll have between 3 and 5 residents sharing one individual bathroom. And some people like to preference those over traditional style buildings because you have less people in one bathroom, and it's just kind of a different setup. You become really close with, your suite mates and those couple of people. We also have one first year building that is an apartment style building, and so it's got a little kitchenette within it. Those apartments are doubles and triples, so you have your own bathroom, your own kitchenette, so a little bit more independence. Depending on your lifestyle, we sort of have the different kinds of options for you. Now, what is in a traditional or a room, just a residence hall room. So in any of those building styles, you're going to receive some of the same basic furniture. So everyone will get a bed and a mattress that's twin extra long. So mom and dad, make sure you're buying the right size sheets, or family members. You'll get a desk and a chair. So chair is already here. That's like one thing you could sort of mark off your list. You don't need to bring yourself. 2 dressers, and then a wardrobe or a closet, depending on the style of the room. And then those apartment style room setups do come with a little bit more because they have sort of a living area. So they'll have some other soft seating and things like that. Just a few other small things to think about. And all of these, there's more information on our website, but you might be wondering what are some maybe other options for housing. And so just some other sort of communities or themed communities that we have. We do have single gendered buildings. So if you're looking to live in a building entirely of females or entirely of males, we do have those options. We also offer a gender inclusive community. So really so that any gender can live with one another, and you know, we can kind of do however you are interested in filling those spaces. And so that's been pretty popular in recent years. We're excited to have it. We also have a wellness house and a quiet living space. So a couple of other options for you to consider as you're thinking about, you know, which type of room makes sense for you to preference. And we'll have lots of information on our website about all of those as well.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Jessica, the next question I think will be a good one for you, and that is, what is the dining like on Carnegie Mellon's campus?
Sorry, I almost forgot to unmute there. I think Pascal indicated that our dining program is very unique. It's a little different than some traditional dining halls with concepts kind of weaved into all of the spaces that we have on campus. And we aim to have food that is diverse and is reflective of our student population. So we have dining locations that specialize in Indian cuisine, Pan-Asian, Mexican. We have halal and kosher locations specializing in Mediterranean cuisines. And many of our concepts are ever changing. They really look at changing the menu based on what students are looking for and keeping up with those latest culinary trends. And eating well is easy to do across campus. All of our vendors aim to have foods that have fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, are healthfully prepared. And many of our dining locations are customizable and made to order. So you can make it your own. If one day you want it to be a little lighter, healthier, you can customize meals to reflect those choices. And if you're looking for something a little bit more indulgent one day, we have that option there for you too. You'll see things like sandwiches, salads, stir fries, bowls, pizza, noodles, rice dishes. And many of these have signature dishes as well as those customizable build your own options. We also have dining locations that are dedicated to vegan and vegetarian cuisine. And we also have an allergen-friendly kitchen on campus. Schatz Dining Room is our only all-you-care-to-eat dining location for breakfast and dinner and brunch on the weekends. And we also have a campus convenience store, Entropy Plus. We have groceries, beverages, snacks, grab-and-go items, and sections dedicated to Orthodox kosher, grab-and-go, and allergen-friendly meals. We also know that dining locations are important community hubs, and our students love to gather, to share a meal with friends, to be able to meet and study at a coffee shop, or relax and unwind over a late night meal or dessert. So many of our dining locations have those adjacent spaces to be able to do that, to be able to connect, or have a quiet study space.
Very good, thank you, Jessica. So our next question is a student how could I get involved in my residential hall community? And David, I think this is a good one for you.
Yeah, I think our philosophy is that every resident is integral to what makes up one of our individual house communities. So any activity level of a student is going to contribute to what that community means. As a residential staff of House Fellows, CARA, it's our job to make sure that each resident's voice and story are represented so that you have a home base to make other connections. So that's sort of like the big picture. The tangible things that we do, all of our first year communities have a house council. Students, some buildings we elect them, some just people or more you show up and you can contribute ideas. But the house council helps determine what sort of activities and projects are happening in the building. If that's constructing a haunted house within the different floors, if it's doing Valentine's delivery or working with housing services to get different furniture in a lounge. So about house council, then we also, there's opportunity to participate in weekly events organized by RAs. Those events range from health and well-being based activities, social and relationship based things, or we do a lot of reflective activities of journaling or thought sharing or pointed questions where the community can share answers with each other. We also have a lot of house-based service activities, like having a 1,000+ group or a Rise Against Hunger, or with your floor participating in Service Saturdays. A lot of our first year halls organize intramural teams. So there's lots of structured activity, but most importantly, we empower residents to develop and create the opportunities for each other. For an example, in E-Tower this year, there are a couple of students that really like cooking. So around in December, they came up with a pasta advent calendar. So every day for 30 days, they made a different pasta and then a different sauce. And then they invited their friends to eat pasta with them, which day 1 through 14, pretty good. By 30, people were a little, there's only so many varieties of pasta you can make, but it was an amazing idea. And it's the type of thing where our students feel comfortable and want to share what they're passionate about with the people they live with. And we really utilize that passion to help create what that each house feels like.
That's great. I'm going to have to remember that pasta idea for the next holiday season. So Sarah, a question for you. How many first-year students go random for their roommate assignments?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So there are a couple of different options for roommates. And I mean, we do see a healthy mix of students who choose a roommate or don't choose a roommate and sort of put the fate in our hands of matchmaking services. I like to think I'm making best friends when as we're going through assignments. And but really in our application process, we have some really great features. So the thing I want to stress to you is you do not need to already know someone before you come to Carnegie Mellon. So we have students coming from all over the country, all over the world, and there's a really good chance you're not going to know anyone yet. And that is totally fine, because one of the best things about college is meeting new people, discovering yourself, and meeting people who are different from you too. So even if you do know someone who's coming here, I encourage you to find someone else to be a roommate with. You're already friends with them. Make friends with someone new or meet someone new. So some of the things in our housing application, which is live now, are the first thing you'll do when it comes to roommates is each person's going to complete a roommate profile. And so this is a series of questions about yourself, things like how often do you clean your room? What time do you usually wake up in the morning? How late do you stay up? And I would encourage you to talk to family members and friends to make sure you're answering these questions honestly, and not what you hope to be doing, right? So if you're like, I would love to clean my room every day, but reality is you only clean it once a week. If you get paired with someone who also cleans their room every day, and that's not true, they might not be very happy with that. So just really thinking about how you're answering those questions. But those are a really great way, and there's a whole series of questions to get to know some of these key elements about you, and you know, some things about the way that you live or the way that you might operate in your room. And so those profiles are searchable. So once you get to the roommate page, you have a couple of different options. So say you met someone or just met someone on like a Facebook group or something like that, or someone that you met through a friend of a friend, or, you know, family members that's coming to Carnegie Mellon, and you want to request that person to be your roommate. You can search for them by their Andrew ID, so their like username or that first part of your email, and you can request them right then and there. Another thing that you can do is you can suggest roommates. So we can suggest roommates for you. And what this feature does is it looks at your roommate profile answers and then other students' roommate profiles and generates percentages, and it'll show you your top matches. And when those individuals pop up, you can view their profile questions. Each of you will also have an opportunity to, up to 500 characters, list some about me stuff. So going above and beyond those profile questions and really letting people know who you are and maybe what you're looking for. And you can decide if that's viewable to other students or not as their roommate searching. Another thing you can do is you can search for roommates by those profile questions. So if there's one of those questions that's more important to you than others, you can go through and say, you know, I really want to find someone who gets up really early in the morning like I do, and you can sort by that and look at profiles that way. So we have some really great features in there. There's a messaging system built right in, so you can search for people, send them a message, introduce yourself, start to have a conversation, and see if you want to be roommates. So you can take as much time up until the deadline as you need on that page. So do not rush through that roommate process until you are ready. The application deadline is May 31st, and there is no advantage to you finishing it early. So please make sure you're taking the time on there. A few key things about roommates you should know is that if you are searching for someone, you'll only be able to find them if you have both started an application. So if you know someone and they just haven't started their application yet, you're not going to be able to find them. And so that's why sometimes we want you to pause on that page until you can kind of see what you need to see. They must have started an application. You're only going to see the same gender individuals when you're searching. And so when I was talking about that gender inclusive community, if that was something of interest to you, send us an email and we actually connect those folks together who want to be connected to form roommate groups, because our system just doesn't allow for that right now. And then the other thing is, once you choose a roommate, make sure you're listing similar room preferences. And so to make sure that, yes, you want to be roommates, but do you also want to live in the same place, the same kind of room types, to make sure you're thinking about those things as well. But once your application's submitted, you can't go back to change your roommate group. So again, just take the time and make sure that you feel really good about that. And then any questions you have, we are also working remotely, and we're happy to answer those questions via phone or email as you're going through that process.
Great, thank you. Now, thinking about those next steps of getting ready for the first year, we received a question about how students should go about choosing a meal plan. And Pascal and Jessica, I'll ask you to share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I wanna first say, David, next time there is a pasta month, let me know, because we'd love to be involved in judging that for a month. So anyway, think about meal plans. All first-year students are required to have what we call a traditional meal plan. So they're color-coded. It's fairly simple. It's green, blue, red, and yellow. Yellow, you can select a yellow plan if you live at the residence on 5th. So that's the only building where students can select a yellow plan. That's for the upcoming academic year. The traditional plans offer what we call meal blocks or swipes, and then also flex dollars, which is a declining balance account that sits on your meal plan or on your CMU ID card. So the meal plans, the traditional dining plans, are really designed with a lot of flexibility in mind. And you should select a plan that best fits your schedule or your dining needs. Some students eat 3 meals a day, where others are perfectly fine with only eating 2 and going out on the weekends. So you should really take a look at the different meal plans and the average number of blocks that each plan comes with. So a meal block, just to clarify what that is, we see that as an entree, a side, and a drink. And then for dinner, you get 2 sides. So we want to ensure that when you use a block or a swipe, that you get a full meal rather than just getting chips from the convenience store, Anthropy Plus, as Jessica said. In Shots, which is our all-you-care-to-eat facility currently, you can use that block or swipe, and it allows you to go back and forth and eat as much as you care to eat. And then Flex, as I indicated, it's a declining balance program, which basically is that there's money on your dining card or your CMU ID card that you can use as you go along. Meal blocks and Flex are allotted per semester. So we provide, again, a lot of flexibility for you to use your blocks as you wish. To give an example, the Red Plan, you get 205 meal blocks for the entire semester and 825 Flex dollars. So you can use those as you wish. And we have set up 4 different meal periods per day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night. And you can use 4 blocks a day if you want. And you can even use multiple blocks, so 2 blocks per meal period. It really depends on your schedule and your day, really, of how you want to use those. One important piece of information that you should realize is that meal blocks and Flex do not roll over from the fall to the spring semester. So you have to use those blocks and Flex within the semester, but again, you have a lot of opportunities to do so. Another program that we have is what we call Dine Extra, which is a different declining balance program. Some students, but even faculty and staff, select to upload Dine Extra dollars on their CMU ID card. And you can use that around campus and any of the dining locations as well. Dine Extra does roll over from the fall to the spring. So that's kind of a global overview of what meal plans look like.
And I'll just chime in a little bit more about how students typically use Flex and Dine Extra. Like Pascal said, these can be used anywhere on campus. They can be used in campus vending machines, and with our off-campus partners, we have a number of local restaurants that we have a partnership with, and you can use those flexible dollars and Dine Extra to purchase meals there, or even have pizza delivered to your residence hall. So that's a really popular feature for our students. And when I talk to the vendors, you can see how flexible they are with the students using their meal plan. Some students say, hey, the block says that I can have this breakfast item with a cup of coffee, but I really want a matcha latte. And our vendors say, yeah, you can absolutely do that. We'll just add $1, we'll take it out of your Flex or your Dine Extra, and you can substitute that coffee for a matcha latte, which is just that kind of upgrade to your meal. A lot of our vendors also do premium nights or chef nights where they might have a specialty item. It's prepared in a different way, so you can use a block, but you can also use those Flex dollars to just bump up the price of that meal and cover those extra dollars. I've seen them do things like prime rib and lamb chops. So campus food can be more than you expect when you see how creative our chefs can be. We also see students using Flex and Dine Extra when you just don't really want to use a block. If you choose a meal plan, like the Red Plan might only give you 1 to 2 meals a day on campus, and you choose that because you'd rather have more flexible dollars to just get a muffin and a cup of coffee, and you don't want to spend a whole block, but that's your eating pattern. You eat 1 or 2 bigger meals a day, and then you fill in with those flexible dollars that allow you to eat the way that you want to be able to eat.
Very good. Question for you, David. As a student, what support would I receive within my residential community?
Thank you. So there are so many resources that are provided to CMU students. And I think sometimes for students, it's overwhelming to see how much support and care is out there. As a first-year student, your house fellow, community advisor, and RA are those primary connection points to many of those resources, and to help you navigate and to know which office to ask for help. So each floor area has an RA. So outside of helping build the community within the floor, the RA is responsible for getting to know every resident and doing regular check-ins. Besides being trained to be good listeners, RAs are good resources and peer advisors. So they're really the person to get to know the challenges that are happening in your life and the accomplishments and everything else. And they work with the community advisor and house fellow to make sure that we're providing the right resources for each resident. So there's a community advisor also, who's a more senior student who works with the RA staff to make sure we're reaching our goals for each of our houses. And they work closely with the RAs to navigate students through more challenging situations. And they're available for residents to come to any issues they may be having. And the house fellows, I think, are the biggest resource that we have for students. The house fellows serve as residents' primary advocate for the university. So as a house fellow, we help make sure that there's social, academic, and intellectual and personal development happening through the events within the building. But more so in the support realm, if a student has any concern, the house fellow is the best starting point to figure out what resources to utilize. On any given week, I will be at Tazadoro, or a coffee shop right next to E-Tower, once or twice a day, meeting with students, just asking about how things are progressing for them, or are there any challenges that they need. So it's really our responsibility as a house fellow to get to know residents and what unique challenges they're having, because we all face challenges, and help people celebrate what you are accomplishing. And sometimes it's hard to have that reflection piece, like, yes, there's lots of challenges, but look at all these things I've accomplished. And that's the rewarding part of my job, is to get to know students, have them take a break, get a coffee or have lunch, and really ask them good questions. Outside of the residential staff in our halls, with the career peer mentors who work career and professional development services. They do regular programming about resume building, internships, a bunch of things that residents really care about. And they also work with the peer health advocates to come into our residence halls to give programming and run workshops about how to take care of yourself and other health and well-being type of issues. So I think the support is catered to what each student is looking for in the residence hall, and it's our responsibility within residential education to put in those checkpoints so that if a student does need something, that we're well aware of it. And now, since I've seen everything in my 15 years, now that we've moved to this remote living, I think now I've checked every box of a student situation. So we're well prepared to help.
Thank you, David. And I will definitely second that. As a Carnegie Mellon grad from the class of 2009, I know my first year house fellow was an amazing resource to me, and to this day still checks in on me now as a colleague periodically, just to see how I'm doing. So these are really great people you'll have around you here. So Sarah, we have one more housing related question, and that's about housing assignments and whether or not a student will get their preferred residence and room type in their assignment.
Yes, another big question. So like I said, the application is live now, and some things about the application that you should know. So assignments are made randomly. So as long as you complete your housing application and have it submitted by the deadline of May 31st, everyone's going to receive a random lottery number. So what we do is everyone gets assigned a randomly generated lottery number within our system. And then we go through in that order, and we look at your preferences. And so, you know, a lot of students will receive a building or and room type combination in their top several preferences, but it really just depends. You know, it's hard to say, it changes from year to year. So it depends on sort of like what the buzz is online this year, what buildings people are excited about and talking about. I always find it really interesting to see sort of like what catches on and what people are talking about and excited about, because sometimes it's the same every year and sometimes it does change. And so, you know, that really depends if if half the students that apply all pick the same building as their top preference, we can't fit everyone in that building. So, but as you're going through that application, like I said, I do not want you to rush. I really want you to make sure you're digging into the housing website and understand all of your options. So obviously talking to other people is a really great resource. And if you know any current students, talking to them about their experiences, but really digging into what are some of those things about these different buildings is really important. So we have 12 different first-year housing options, 12 different buildings. And so that's a lot of different buildings to really look at. And like I said, they're all different room style types. Each building is very unique. So I always encourage folks to really think about from the amenities aspect, what are your absolute must-haves, things you can live without, like what are those things to help you narrow down what your preferences are. The other thing I really want to note, and sort of going off of everything that David has been saying about the experience, the house fellow team, the RAs and CAs, everyone here is here to support you. Sorry, my watch Siri just went off. So everyone is here to support you. That's what our jobs are. That's what we're here for. Our house fellow team is absolutely amazing. So what I want you to remember from this is, like, yes, absolutely list your building preferences and your room preferences based on your personal needs. But also, if you go ask a current student what the best first year building is, they're going to tell you where they lived is the best building, because the community there and the support system that is created is just amazing. So please keep that in mind too, that the actual experience and being there with the house fellows and the other students is going to be amazing. If you do have a need for a housing accommodation, there is a page within the application that talks about that, and then some more information on our website. Please get connected with our disability services office to talk about any needs that you might have, and they will walk you through the whole process. And then they just give our team the recommendation for the accommodation that you might need. So you share your information with them. We don't need to know the details. We just need to know, what does that mean for your housing accommodation? And we put that on file for you. So again, like I said, any questions at all through the process? I know this is all new. You know, you're coming to college maybe for the first time, you know, first person in your family, probably the first time. First person in your family, maybe others have gone here or not, but we're happy to answer any questions you have so that you feel good about the choices that you're making.
Thank you, Sarah. And I'll reinforce that observation. Loyalty to your first year residence hall runs very deep within our community. So Pascal, our final question, I'm going to throw your way, and that is, can a student change their meal plan throughout the year?
They sure can. First off, let me say that I know Sarah talked about the 12 different first year housing building options. As I indicated, we have 4 meal plans, so hopefully it's a little bit easier, 4 traditional dining plans, and really only 3 unless you live at the residence on 5th next year or this upcoming academic year is when you can select the yellow plan. The portal that Sarah talked about, the StarS portal for dining, will be live next week is what we anticipate. Similar deadline for dining as well. You need to sign up for a meal plan by the end of May. So once you're signed up for a meal plan, you really have until the start of the school year, August 30th. You can make as many changes as you like. Really does not affect anything because the meal plan has not started yet. That will start on the first day of classes. So you will just get a full refund and a new charge for the meal plan that you select all the way up to August 30th. After that date and when the meal plan starts, students have a full month until September 25th this upcoming year to make any other changes to their meal plan. So that allows for a full month to try out the plan, see how it works, see if you have enough meals or blocks. And similar to what Sarah says, really take a close look at what your eating pattern looks like and what your needs are. So if you're someone that eats 3 meals a day consistently, the green plan might be a better selection for you than the red plan might be. So you have that full first month to make changes to the meal plan as you see fit. One thing that's important to note is when you change your meal plan after August 30th up until September 25th, you will get a prorated refund and also then a prorated charge for your new meal plan. So just be mindful of that. And that is all explained again in STARS on our meal plan agreement. We have a whole section that talks about the changed policy. Students can increase their plan throughout the entire academic year. So if you feel that you don't have enough blocks or flex, you can always increase throughout the year.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Sarah, David, Jessica, and Pascal. Appreciate you all sharing of your time and expertise today. To our students and families, thank you for viewing our panel today. If you do have any additional questions, I encourage you, please reach out to the Office of Admission, or if you would like to talk to any of our colleagues across campus, you'll find opportunities to connect to their sites and resources through the Office of Admission as well. Everybody certainly take care, and we look forward to greeting you as a member of the Tartan community.